My father-in-law's behavior is unbearable. I had to move out.
Kick that bear and behavior out right now.
Yeah, rock, paper, scissors, but it's bear, behavior, and father. Hello, my husband, 28 male, myself, 27 female, and my stepson, 5 male. We're living on my father-in-law's property in a large trailer that we purchased to save money while we saved to buy a house. My father-in-law has lots of land. The arrangement was that we got to live in our trailer on the property and pay for the property's electricity. 3 households and a mechanic business run off the property. By the way, this comes from True Income 5727. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, we of course paid for our own heat, propane, groceries, etc. It was like living in a bigger style tiny home. I am extremely grateful for the deal we had. We had saved hundreds of dollars every month, and I will always be grateful for the opportunity we had. I'm grateful for father-in-law and how he let us stay there, and I wish I didn't feel so angry towards him, but I do. And in my heart, I know the only way I will have peace in my life is by staying out of his. Some background info on father-in-law. He is someone who is very set in his traditional ways. Women should do all the cooking and cleaning, and the men should do all the outside work. He also works himself to the bone with outside work he finds and creates for himself. He also thinks everyone else should work themselves as hard as he does. He's always working, but not in a way of loving to work and it making him happy. He's miserable and cranky and complains about all the work he has to do. If I'm being honest, aside from needing to cut down firewood and cut the grass, the tasks he makes for himself are things that are a choice. He doesn't absolutely need to do them. He doesn't need to work himself miserable. He chooses to. I can sympathize. I really can. It's the way he was raised. It's how he earned his father's respect. Almost all of this could have been solved if he broke any of his generational trauma. But he says he knows what's wrong with him, so he doesn't need therapy. That's really funny because it's like if you were ill and you're like, I know that I have a broken arm, so I don't need a doctor.
I can wrap it with tape.
It's fine.
It'll be fine by tomorrow, and I'll take one of those Advils, and I'm good.
However, it's also the expectation he set up for his own children. My husband, his older brother, and younger sister. And he constantly is expecting and asking them to fill up any and all of their spare time to help him around the property. My sister-in-law, of course, was expected to do the inside jobs, cleaning the house, etc. If they were busy and unable to help, he was mad at them, made fun of whatever their plans were that they were doing. The only accepted excuse would be that they were already working extra hours for their jobs. By the time I was around, my brother-in-law had moved out, so he wasn't affected by any of this anymore. However, it created a lot of conflict for my husband and sister-in-law in their day-to-day lives. For my husband, he was trying to spend time with his family, my son and I, create memories, and be there to eat dinner with us, just to be there with the family he's created. Anytime my husband chose family time over extra work, he was the butt of all the jokes, and my father-in-law was genuinely mad at him. For example, in the summer, my husband told his dad he would help him with wood at some point this weekend. My husband spent Saturday out with our family, expecting to help father-in-law on Sunday. And when we returned home, we were in bed. My father-in-law called him and yelled at him for not being home that day, loudly, angrily, for a while. It caused us both a sleepless night full of anxiety. Most recently, my husband was doing dishes. I mean, dish gloves on, elbow deep in dishwater, and my father-in-law came into the trailer and asked for help. I already know what his take on this is going to be.
Oh, yeah.
My husband said as soon as he was done with the dishes, my father-in-law left and came back 5 minutes later and started saying that our dishes could wait and he needed help now. My father-in-law's family are very outspoken in their opinions and views, even though they're sometimes discriminatory and don't align with basic human rights. This I can't sympathize with, and I can't stand this kind of speaking anywhere near my son. Yes, I said my son. I'm a full-time stepmom, meaning my son lives with us full-time, and he is very much my son, and I'm currently the only active mom he has in his life. If I'm being honest, I've had a sour taste in my mouth since over 3 years ago when my husband was filing for full custody of her son because Biomom is an active user and is a very unsafe person for our son to be around right now. Not forever. I know people can overcome their regular using, and there will always be room in our lives for Biomom if she gets better, which I think is very understandable and fair. You are the full-time mom right now.
You just want a healthy environment for the child.
My father-in-law said not to do it because it would be a waste of money, and he didn't think Biomom would ever sign. How can his grandchild's safety ever be something he says is a waste of money? We lived in the trailer for roughly 3 years. We stayed so long because we were given some decisions we had to make and decide. Very soon after moving there, my husband and I were offered to take over the main house and the property one day. My father-in-law has built his mom a 2-bedroom home on his property, and when she passes on, it was his intent to move into that and leave us the main house. That we would pay him rent for the main house, and when he passed, it would state in his will that all the money we put into the house would come back to us and we would be able to buy out his siblings. If that's true, pretty good deal.
I would say, yeah, I would just let his discriminatory remarks and everything, like, all right, just one ear out the other.
Yeah,
if
like,
that's really what's the case.
Yeah,
so,
if
like,
this
what I have
is,
to put
but
up
get
with,
this in writing.
yeah, if I have to put up with that, sure, give me the house and the property. I'll do that and not, have low contact.
The catch was that we weren't allowed to ever say anything to my husband's siblings. I told my sister-in-law the same day. We're actually best friends.
OP.
I'm confused. I'm confused if OP's like saying like, oh, the father and, he had weird rules, or if OP just was like, I don't know, I'm going to tell her anyway. At the time, my husband was very excited about this, not the keeping things from his siblings part, but the opportunity to have his child at home part. He agreed it was something he would definitely like to consider and discuss further down the line. I was never very excited about the idea. For reasons listed above, and honestly so many more, I could write a frickin' book. But I stayed open to the idea, and my husband and I constantly went back and forth between what we wanted to do. Fast forward to August to September, I'd had enough of the comments, of walking on eggshells, of my husband not being able to spend time with us without being given grief, just all of it. I was telling my husband we needed to just get out, rent a place. The plan could not be that we take over the property. I couldn't live in a constant state of anxiety. My husband and father-in-law got into a fight in September, and he told his dad we were looking for places to rent and we were moving out. He didn't say anything, didn't ask about it, nothing. Mid-October, we found a place, and our move-in date was November 1st. My husband told father-in-law, and everything went to crap. More to crap than before. Father-in-law had tears, grief, asked how we could do this to him. He was mad and sad. He then went and told his entire side of the family, and they're all mad at us. Everyone had negative and nasty things to say about us to us and behind our backs. Mad at us for moving out, for leaving father-in-law alone. I honestly still cannot wrap my head around it. Grown adults, mad at my little family for moving out on our own. My father-in-law, king of everyone needs to help him, never once offered to help us lift or move a thing, gave us the silent treatment the majority of the rest of the time we lived there. A heck of an experience getting to move into our first real place as a family. But honestly, if you could just get away from, it would have been nice to get the place, that he was offering, but if you have to deal with his kind of attitude and him
just being a negative person over you guys and
taking
day.
advantage of you, saying, oh, well, I gave you this, I'm giving you this house, so you have to do what I say.
Yeah, my word goes.
Yeah.
Or you won't get the house.
Yeah. It's like, you don't want that to be held over you until the day he moves out. Like, we don't know when that is. It doesn't seem that he's written anything down, so you don't even know. Like, he might change his mind.
Oh, that's very true. I would get proof first. Yeah. Very true.
It was supposed to be an exciting time for us. We still made the best of it. I haven't spoken to father-in-law's siblings, and his mom, the main negative gossipers of our move, since we left. I didn't say goodbye. I didn't say I will no longer be coming around here. No word. Just left. And I haven't been back to visit. I haven't attended any family dinners or gatherings. They've asked my husband why, and he's told them I'm hurt by their behavior. They called my sister-in-law to ask and to rant about us. And she's told them why I'm angry and told them to not talk to her about it. But you can talk to others about listening to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and tell other people to do that. and search a Poke Storytime. But there is a little bit left of the story. Do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, if it's to the driving point, like, I mean, I said it earlier too when I said, it's one in one ear out the other. But if it's
Yeah.
at that point where you can't even think,
Yeah, it's like
It's time to
you're
get
just
out.
anxious all the time. It's not really worth it.
yeah, he's opening the door in like a sitcom. Every time he's like, hey guys, stop whatever you're doing
Yeah,
and
he's-
follow what I say. You
he's
can't have a life.
He's Kramering it, except if Kramer was
A demon?
a demon. Yeah. But there's a little bit left. They all sent lots of wishes to see me in hopes that I would come at Christmas, though through speaking to my husband. But I seriously don't want to be around them right now. Maybe ever again. Wow. Probably ever again. Wow. However, they do seem very hurt, and I do feel bad that I'm causing problems. Am I the a-hole for not saying anything before cutting them off? Do I owe my father-in-law an explanation? Am I being ungrateful and too sensitive in my decision? If you made it this far, I am truly grateful for your time. And that is the end of that story. I don't think you're necessarily the a-hole, but I think that you could have a conversation, or your husband could have a conversation with them.
Yeah.
The thing is, you might not see them anymore, but they're still going to be a part of your life, even if it's just kind of on the outskirts, because your husband's still communicating that with them, and your son is still going to be communicating with them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think maybe a conversation would be helpful, just to tell them, why you're upset with them, why you were hurt by their behavior.
I feel like the father-in-law is not going to have any part of it.
Yeah.
Just, he doesn't care. Whatever excuse you left, you left.
Yeah.
That you made your decision. But I feel like just for, clarity and for your own sake, just put it out there. Hey, this is why we're leaving. We don't care if you don't want to hear it or not, or you're set on one mindset. This is why we're leaving. That's that.
And that's that.